one, but then Ivan asked me to cover this one. No, it's queued up on Iron Throne. No, great.
Not that I know anything about any cards that aren't start cards, but we'll pretend like I do.
Well, let's see here. I'm having a problem where like I try to join these matches and then it like kicks you out.
Yeah, I usually have to refresh my browser when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a failsafe built in for too many people like joining and leaving games, or if it's just a. I don't know. I'm not a computer expert either.
No. Well, sometimes it like asks you for the password twice. Like you get into the thing and
Yes, that's when I usually have to close the browser and open it back up, and then it usually works.
all right. All right. Looks like we're going here.
All right, I'll trying to join in here.
You can watch my Twitch stream probably.
I don't
No.
necessarily know how to do that from my computer. I usually watch your Twitch from my phone.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I had put up the decks earlier. This looks. I mean, not that I'm a great judge of things, but this looks like a pretty standard Nice Watch Sea of Blood versus a Martell Wars that has all of the things you would expect a Martell's War deck to
Okay.
have.
So basically, the Martell Wars is going to try to weather the storm early game and then win, obviously, with the big Dorn's game.
Yep.
I mean, the econ game, I think, is going to be the important thing for Martell. They are off to a good start, but if the Night's Watch can get a torch on that fiefdom, that really puts them behind the eight ball.
Right. So for those of you, for those multiple thousands of listeners at home watching the Twitch stream, we've been joined by Derek Shoemaker, member of Team USA. Derek, why don't you tell people a little bit about your Thrones background?
I've been playing Thrones off and on since 2004 when it was a CCG. I played in 1.0. In 1.0, I had a champ card for those people who played 1.0 Northern Patriarch towards the end of the game. Then I took some time off when my kids were born around the start of 2.0, and I've been back into the game for about, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, and having a lot of fun.
So you've won a
And I
few
was lucky enough.
things.
Like I said, I won overall worlds in 2012. Won some handful of regionals in 1.0. Just recently, last online league, the online league that's run, for that was like I think 80 people participating, 89 people last time I won that. I've won 3 of the Northeast Championship Tour events this year as well, which are usually like 30 to 35 or so people.
Cool.
So obviously we get the standard opening at the gates for Gates of the Moon on both sides.
See, I always wonder. Not that I've played with it a lot. I always wonder. I always thought Martell would open what at Prince Doran's behest, and you know, if you got at the gates, then you could do Varys's riddle and essentially get at the gates, twice.
Does this deck
It may
run
not run
Riddle?
it, but
Oh, that's a pretty strong opening right now.
what's happening or what I'm suggesting.
What's happening with the Starfall and 6 military strength on the board?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it, I've been playing a little bit of Martell lately, because I don't know why, but just something different.
Sure.
And I
No good
found that
reason.
no good reason. I'm a start guy. Everybody who knows me knows I'm a start guy. But you can give me just about any beat sick type of deck, aggro-y deck, or attrition based deck, and I can find a way to make it work. I found in Martell that the Behest has more value mid game,
Mm-hmm.
so that so that you can miss the return to the fields with your reset.
Okay.
That's where I'm getting my value anyway.
So explain that to me how that works. You're saying you.
So it depends on the board state a lot, but if if I want to potentially Valor turn 3, say, I'll
Mm-hmm.
play Behest. If my opponent plays Return to the Fields, then
Right.
I'll play March to the Wall or Valor Doharis. If or no, well, no, Valor Doharis doesn't work if I've already played Behest, because they're going to make themselves first player and choose my Behest to go. And if I play a reset, then they can choose their return before my reset, obviously. But
But either way, you're going to see what they play and then
correct.
either
So
reset or.
I won't then flip my my Valor into their return. I can flip a March to the Wall into their return, for
Mm-hmm.
example.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following turn, I can then Valor with basic impunity. All right, we see a Quarren here played by Night's Watch.
Yeah, and that's not good for Martell. Right?
No.
This is a very bad card for.
He's probably just going to lose his icon to Starfall, his
Mm-hmm.
military icon to Starfall.
Right.
But that does protect the old Forest Hunter, who's not going to be kneeling as far as icons go.
Mm-hmm.
So just quick math: the Sea of Blood has 5, 6, 7, 8 showing military strength. Obviously, the Martell player can prevent the Sea of Blood trigger this turn just by defending, because he has 6
What
military
are
strength showing.
if you're playing Martell here, what's the sneaky stuff you're looking for? You're watching out for from Night's Watch that can pump up a challenge like this.
Good question. I don't necessarily know that a lot of. Again, I'd have to pull up the list to be sure, but there isn't a whole lot that I can think of off the top of my head. I guess if they had 2 gold, they could ambush in a Practice Blade for +1 strength, but I don't know.
They don't have it. They've only got like dragon glass daggers. It looks like. Um, he is running 3 bound for the wall here. Anyway, I'm
Yeah,
just I'm
yeah.
just talking out loud. Like how like sometimes you're playing games and you feel like I don't know at all what the final challenge strength is going to be. Here it might
I
be a
don't
little bit
think.
more predictable.
Yeah, well, at least on the Night's Watch side, with the Martell, they probably are running Princess Plans in this deck. Obviously, they don't have the econ for it this turn.
Yep.
This is a pretty safe little challenge right here, because he's sending 2 strength, which is going to force him to oppose with the Old Forest Hunter. Because if he does not oppose with the Old Forest Hunter, he's going to intimidate the Haunted Forest Scout, which means he would lose his Intrigue challenge as well. Yeah, that's what I assumed. Because Dawn obviously gives intimidate to that House Dane character there. I was curious if the Night's Watch player would have defended the challenge to trigger his. Oh, he couldn't. He didn't have enough strength to trigger Sea of Blood even on defense, because the Haunted Forest Scout cannot defend. That's right. The other thing, depending on what he's got in hand, the Old Forest Hunter could give him some extra econ, but I just don't see that being high value right now. His cards are more important to him, I believe.
Yeah, and if you're Martell here, it's not exactly like you don't need to be like winning these rounds. You just need to be surviving the early onslaught from Sea of Blood, stopping the triggers, and getting deeper into your used plot deck or stack.
That surprises me that he didn't take the unopposed Intrigue challenge there. I don't know if he just didn't want the power on his house as a way to slow down the slow down the Night's Watch player a little bit, since he can oppose this challenge and there won't be any power claim. But I think, for me personally, taking the card, out of the Night's Watch player's hand seems like a high value play.
Mm-hmm. Instead, he's just thinking, don't give him the unopposed power, right? Is
Well,
that?
it's 2 power. It's a 2 power actually, because he would get an unopposed intrigue, and there would be power on the Martell player's house for Quentin to take on the power challenge claim. I guess technically he could still bound to the wall if he has it in hand. He would have to discard a card with the old. Oh, he doesn't have it, because bound to the wall does not have a win by 5 requirement on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's 3-0 now. It would have been 5-0 had he made the intrigue challenge. What resets are the players running?
Let's take a look. Okay, on the Night's Watch side, it's Valardo Harris. And then on the Martell side, both Valors.
Does he have first snow?
No first snow.
That's very good for the Night's Watch side. Ooh, that's a good plot for Night's Watch, or for Martell, as long as he can show some intrigue, or have a way to, eliminate the intrigue for Night's Watch.
What do you think about this plot of City Besieged? It seems to
It's
me like
amazing.
it's amazing, right? Yeah.
It does so many things. One of the things that it does is, if there's one card that your deck really depends on, say Doran's Game or Yorin or the Wall in a builder's deck, it gives you one round that you can play it even if your opponent has the Iron Throne out.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's 2 claim, 8 initiative. Presumably, you're playing it after at the gates, so you have econ on the
Mm-hmm.
board.
Yeah.
It's a very strong plot.
Yeah, the precondition's like nothing right now.
Right. I have not. Oh, I guess in a Sea of Blood deck, it's very good too, because it gives you a round that you can kneel out Winterfell from an opposing Stark player.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can even run 2 of them.
You can, but
Yeah.
the econ, especially if you have a slow start, the econ can be a legitimate drawback. Both of these players got out to very good econ starts.
Yeah. Right. It can be like a little bit of a win more card, right? Like if you're ahead, it's
Correct.
great.
I mean, the 2/8/2 is a win more ability is very good, because in this case it nailed out the Starfall,
Mm-hmm.
which
It's incredibly versatile.
yeah. I'm trying to think of what out this
I mean, like,
Martell player
would you?
could
Nobody's
have
going to
in
run
hand.
retaliation anymore. Like this is what you would run instead, right?
Martell Wolf runs retaliation sometimes, but I don't know that Martell Wolf is super good right now. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it
I
was
mean,
it
I
wasn't
feel like
in
this
its
plot
heyday.
happened since the time that Martell Wolf was good, right?
Yes.
I
I mean,
mean,
Martell Wolf just has a lot of stuff that it's got to pay for, with Ward and Harrenhal, and what's the other one? Ward and Harrenhal and Venom's Blade.
mm-hmm.
That's a lot of stuff to pay for. He must be digging for something in particular, playing the Cavalry out here before the draw 3 was
Right. Triggered.
especially because you have to assume that he runs the new plot, manning the city
Or is
gates.
he doing it just because he needed? That's his intrigue icon. He needs to actually.
It's possible, but you wouldn't necessarily think that this is the plot that he would have went with if that was his only intrigue icon.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, does he run Venomous Blade?
Press the wrong buttons here. Okay, there's another intrigue icon. Does he run Venomous Blade? He does not. He runs a single Dawn and 2 Milks. So
Okay, that's in a Wars deck. I understand that. Venomous Blade would have been very high value for him right here because he would have been able to kill the old Forest Hunter and pump the Cavalry's strength to 5, which would be above the Naive Scout. But the Begging Brother is probably a good play here because he can just out strength unless the Sea of Blood, Nice Watch Sea of Blood has a strength pump.
okay, it looks like I'm having some audio issues. So Buzz is in the chat. That's helpful. Buzz, I'm gonna try to take my mic down and see if you can still hear me. So I'm gonna be counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Did I drop out as I was counting down? Buzz? If he was paying attention. I was fine. Okay, so I'm going to take my mic volume all the way down, and you can still hear me now, Buzz, correct? I've refrained from bugging you, Buzz, about what I should be doing technically to make the stream better, so I'm just trying to just figure it out on my own. And letting you sleep and not bug away. Well, I see what you did there. He's making a bee joke. Okay. All right, so sorry. So since we last got distracted.
See, here's the combination I was talking about earlier. He played his Behest now, and now he knows that his opponent played Return to the Field, so he's not going to waste his Valor on this.
No, yeah, you kind of called this move right here. You must play this game.
Obviously, last round while you were having technical difficulties, it went through the challenges. Martell blocked the intrigue, so his plot did not allow Night's Watch to make any more challenges, and Martell could not win any other challenges, so there was no point in making challenges and giving free Renown or free Sea of Blood triggers.
Right. Right. Swinging back at all was dangerous.
Right.
Or just bad stuff would happen only.
Right.
Okay, so interesting. He goes ahead with Valdo Harris anyway.
It still brings his board down, even if he's going to use the Return to the Field to minimize, because he does have the Quentin and the Ranging Party, which are both a little bit more pricey characters. I don't know for sure what he will keep here. I don't play the deck enough. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, there it is. Yeah, the Martell player made a mistake there. He did not know that Doharis does not resolve before that once you trigger all 3 plots separately there. The Behest is triggered, then you get to pick the next trigger. It's not one player gets all their plots triggered and then the next player. So it went Behest, Return, Doharis.
Yep. Yes, we're seeing in the chat of the game here that the Martell player is kind of still struggling to understand this.
Yes.
I feel like this is one of those things where you have to get this wrong at least once in a game that matters, and then you never get it wrong again.
Possibly, yes.
I'm just saying, like unfortunately, like these are tough lessons to learn sometimes. Like some of the edge cases in the rules, it sometimes takes painful, visible public lessons, losing matches, and then you go back and really study them and realize, okay, I don't really know the order in which certain interactions get resolved, and you know when the phase ends, until the end of the phase, at the end of the phase, those type of orders of operation that are kind of in the weeds, but when you're playing the game at a competitive level, you have to understand.
Right. I mean, I don't necessarily, like, as I said, I don't necessarily think that it was the worst choice. At least he didn't, Morgullis into it.
Yeah, no, I don't think anything really bad particularly happened there.
The Night's Watch player does have 14 gold and 9 cards in hand.
Wow. But at the same time, if he just floods, then he's already used his return to the fields, and a Valor just wipes him out.
But he played enough and kept enough. I think that was probably a good move. I'm still not sure he's going to be able to trigger, and eventually he's going to have to be able to trigger Sea of Blood. I don't think he can win this game without Sea of Blood triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Martell's sitting on 11 gold and 7 cards in hand, so he's in a pretty good spot as well. Neither player has seen any or much draw.
I am going to admit I don't know where Andorra is. Do we know?
I don't either, actually.
That's fine.
It's right next to Spain.
Okay.
It's a tiny, tiny country.
Hey, now we have somebody who knows their stuff.
So is Andorra almost like Basque region? Or am I sounding really American here?
Sorry, what was that?
Okay, Buzz is laughing at me, I assume by my ignorance of the location of Andorra. I think it just makes me an American if I'm displaying ignorance of geography.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, I'll admit I only know this because I looked it up after the World Cup, after they had a World Cup team.
Nightmare's here. Is that going to allow him to get his trigger? Oh, Hand's Judgment.
Okay, so we saw he was nightmaring Starfall, right?
Presumably, yes.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure that it mattered, because even with that strength, I don't know that he could get his trigger, but he would have forced more of a commit to the defense.
Thank you, Buzz, for thinking too much of me. I appreciate it. So is what you're saying, because if I just Google Andorra, it's going to show me some tiny little region there, but you're saying Andorra is more like a cultural identity for Catalan, that kind of northern Barcelona part of Spain and that entire region? I'm asking chat. Anyway. All right, so we are in the middle of an intrigue challenge. We've got both Haunted Forest Scouts not kneeling because of all the Rangers.
Gotcha. It's an interesting Prince's Plans there that was played when it shouldn't have been.
So when we see this on Iron Throne, it's basically just saying that Martell skipped Night's Watch's action window.
No, what happens is... Go ahead, Alejandro.
Yeah, either they skipped it or they passed action and then took an action anyways.
Okay.
So he should, in turn, offer an action to his opponent here.
He probably shouldn't even get that action. Because you get an advantage. It looks like he's second player actually, so it doesn't matter. But if you, as first player, pass your action, then your opponent passes their action, and then you take an action, you have an advantage of knowing that your opponent isn't going to play an action, so it makes a difference.
Honestly, we said that and it didn't matter because he would have had an action window after defenders were not declared, since he wasn't going to defend the challenge anyways.
Right.
So there was another action window before he would have lost the intrigue claim.
Yeah. I'm getting from Buzz's commentary here is that Spain figured out a way to get 2 teams in the World Cup.
Right.
I mean, USA did the same with Team Sealand, didn't they?
Right.
Yeah, what's the story with that exactly? I was looking at that saying, what the hell is this?
So I don't know the full story, but basically Anil told them that they could have a team if they had enough representation from non-American countries. And then it's basically just all Americans, but like Prasant is claiming, a different nationality. Like Sandy is like, oh yeah, claiming not USA. So just a bunch of Americans.
In Anil's defense, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that it kind of went after the whole like team or USA wasn't getting 3 teams thing fell. He told them that they weren't going to be able to participate, but then when there was an odd number of teams that applied at 23, he said, hey, if you guys do have a team together, let's make it an even 24. I think is kind of how that all went down. But
yeah, there was some drama around it, them even being a team, and Will, who was heading the operation, was like, all right, well, we're just not going to do it. Like it's, it doesn't need to be this. And then at the 11th hour, Jenkins was messaging Anil, and then they had, this is probably when they found out that they had uneven teams. So that's what ended up making them have a team. Jenkins kind of swooping in there to play at the last minute.
Buzz is pointing out that Darren is Welsh as well.
Right, yeah, they've got a few, but Darren's left thrones. He's not participating at all for Team Sealand. All of his games, well, I guess I should say the last 3 games have been subs for him.
Gotcha. That sounded very dramatic, though, that he's left thrones.
Yeah, he was a moderator for the community group, but I think after the announcement of the discontinuation of the product, he is not playing Thrones at all anymore.
Gotcha. So is he a mod on the first Facebook page group or the second?
He was in the community group, but now he's,
which I believe is the second.
Right, the second group, yeah.
Okay.
So we have a military challenge going in with 9 strength or 8 strength, and it was blocked with 9 strength by Martell. Does Night's Watch run a second return to the fields?
I don't think so, but let's check real quick.
It kind of surprises me that he would block that challenge completely instead of just opposing it to prevent the trigger to get the card with Dorn, but I guess he didn't want to kill anything to claim.
He also had Renown on Knights, right? Yeah.
True.
So what do you guys think? This, to me, looks like things are going just fine for Martell in the type of game they want to play, right?
Martell is in a good position right now, not knowing what's in the hands. Obviously, Night's Watch just lost a bound to the wall, but he hasn't been able to trigger. That's why, actually, Martell blocked the military challenge. That was a very good play. He blocked it so he couldn't trigger bound.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, that was a very good play.
That is one thing that's really bad about the Sea of Blood list, as opposed to literally any other Night's Watch deck. So you can only trigger bound on the military challenge. So everybody knows you have to block that one if you don't want to get the top 5 cards in your library looked at.
Right. Bound has to be attacking, and then the Sea of Blood trigger itself can be either attacking or defending.
Correct.
Right, yeah. But you can't trigger bound in trigger powers, so.
Right.
You're limited there.
So powerful, but inflexible. You kind of, right, it's...
Well, it's only inflexible in the Sea of Blood deck. In
Mhm.
any other Night's Watch deck, it works on any attacking challenge.
Sure.
But you can't tutor it as well in a non-Sea of Blood deck.
Mhm.
So that's your trade-off.
Right.
Martell just happens to be, in general, very equipped to deal with Sea of Blood triggers because of their, well, not necessarily triggers, but Sea of Blood preventing the triggers because of their icon removal, and his Viper's Eyes helps as well. I don't know if this deck runs it.
We've got the list. We can pull it up. There is no his Viper Eyes in the list. There's 2 His Judgment.
Yeah, he's already played one of those on a Nightmares. Very high value.
Buzz is saying in the chat that he feels like Night's Watch should have flooded a bit harder and relied on refill versus the Valor Morgulis with You Win or You Die, because he's just getting no triggers off. And so Wama agreed with him on that.
Yeah, I think we talked about that without saying so many words, is that Martell's board state is in a good place.
Yeah, if
We
you're
also
Martell
don't
now,
know-
you're not even thinking Valor. You're kind of fine. You're handling everything.
Yeah, that Little House Day Knight that's 6 strength is going to present a problem if Night's Watch doesn't draw into any stealth.
Jorn could come down here and make this really tricky.
True. I didn't think about that.
So, exposed duplicity. He's just getting this out of the way. He knows he's not going to face Shadow's cards,
Right, yeah, he doesn't care. He wants to win initiative.
and he wants to win initiative. Okay.
Which,
Well, yeah, he won because he had lower power.
Yeah. It just didn't seem like an obvious play to me, especially in a Wars deck. But I guess, is he expecting this to go 10 plots? Or I'm just saying, to the noob in me, that doesn't seem like an obvious plot on this.
Sometimes you just burn a plot because you don't have anything better to play and you want to get better value out of the plus that you have left. You question a lot of my plot choices whenever you commentate on my games too.
It's not that I'm saying you're wrong. I'm questioning my own understanding of things.
Yeah, I didn't mean that as anything negative. I just know that that's. I always go back and listen to the commentation of my games when they're complete to see what other people were thinking. So I find it very educational because sometimes I make mistakes and don't even catch it until I go back and rewatch it.
Well, I'm really appreciative you guys are joining me here on the commentary, because I do sometimes just ask these questions. I'm in the job of having to say my thoughts, and it's good to hear from experienced players the actual reasons behind things. Buzz is kind of agreeing with me in chat, just in the sense that because it's wars, you've got so many plot options, so generally you're not thinking I need to get rid of something. But he's just pointing out this may just be a stats play.
Yeah, that's what Alejandro said, and I agree with him. It's a big intimidate stick that Martell has in play right now as well. That's one of the reasons why he may have wanted to go first.
But he didn't. Did he?
Oh, no, he went second. You're right. Well, I guess he wanted to get high value out of his fiefdoms then.
Okay. So he does have the stealth out now, but like the Starfall is kind of been the MVP here of the game.
Well, the Starfall has. That's probably what Buzz meant whenever he was thinking that the Night's Watch should have went wider and kind of overwhelmed the board. Is force that trigger on Starfall. At least that's my assumption, because Starfall is real bad.
Starfall is also one of those things, just from my kind of simple way of viewing things, like it's a card that's better with small boards. The wider things get, the less impact it's going to have.
Oh, absolutely.
And Wama is saying that Prince's plan will also kind of single-handedly shut down Sea of Blood at this point.
Yes, because you can play Prince's plan after the stealth is declared on a different character. That's a great call out.
And it's complete, and it's recurring. It's recurs. Right. Yeah.
Yes. Did he just play the Doran's game on defense? Yes, he did.
And he's got his Isle of Ravens out there to probably.
He already used his Isle of Ravens on Secret Schemes this round.
Just saying, like, that's a good thing to have out to, see more of those.
Yeah. He seems to be in a really good spot right now, because Night's Watch has burned what reset they do have.
Buzz is pointing out that Baltic Sea states may be losing both. We have two matches going on right now at the same time, and it's not looking good on both of them.
I take it the Martell is Andorra in this matchup?
That's right.
Okay.
That's why Buzz is scolding Night's Watch actually is because they're teammates.
Oh, okay. So next plot, it's real close to the next Doran's game being winning the game. Because it would be for 7. Technically, Night's Watch is still winning this game 9-6. So if he does not see another Doran's game,
I wonder what he's sitting on in hand. He had 6 gold at the end of that marshalling phase, and he didn't seem like he did a whole lot with it, right?
I think he's really playing Scared of the Valor, maybe?
Yeah, I'd go back to what Buzz said in chat, and that he kind of has to play into it. Like, this is exactly what the Martell deck wants to do. And so putting it off, especially now that Ricasso's hit the board, if Martell wants to play VM here with Ricasso on the board, I think you're okay with it.
Right.
Absolutely.
But not getting the Starfall off the board means that you're just like a turn behind being able to do things. Until you get that Starfall off the board, you're like really hampered as to what you can do.
March to the Wall seems inopportune there, since the Martell player can just march their House Dane Escort and then replay them from the discard pile.
Yeah, it's not what Night's Watch wants to be doing in this spot.
Well, it was mostly for initiative, right? To force Martell to go first, or
yeah, he might just not have very good options left either.
milk on the stealth there.
He's got you win or you die, and so that's another reason why he should be playing to the board. Like if he catches the VM with you win or you die, he's probably okay. Now he's let his opponent go first with a big intimidate character that he knew he was going to have.
Yeah, that was his choice.
Tough spot here.
Agreed. One thing that I guess the Night's Watch player could be sitting on a pile of events in hand right now.
So Buzz is making a point that he actually marched the escort character that had Dawn on him, maybe in order to put Dawn on a higher cost or higher cost character to make it unyorinable. Is that Buzz's
Right,
point?
that's correct. That's a very good play. Like
He also
getting that.
gets Dawn on an intrigue icon, which will help him trigger his Doran's game potentially.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, both of those are key. If Yorn was in hand for Night's Watch, he'd gladly go first here and take the intimidate instead of marching there. He's past marshaling with 10 gold. His hand must be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It must be events, right? Because that's the only thing he wouldn't be able to play.
Yeah.
And 10 gold and barring out, like, what can he spend it on?
He should just be playing to the board if he has any kind of characters in hand.
Okay, we did
Does Martell-
see, we missed it, but yeah, Dorn's game gets shuffled back in. Go ahead.
Does Martell even make challenges here?
I mean, I would with the intimidate probably.
Well, if he's got Dorn's game in hand, wouldn't he, too?
Yeah, of course he would. Yeah.
He has to kneel both his characters for the Doran's game, doesn't he? No. I guess he would only
No.
need the intimidate character. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. $12 military strength for Night's Watch before any intimidate. You could intimidate 5 of that, get it down to 7. And your 2 House Day Knights could it depends if he's playing Scared of the Bound.
Right, that's fair.
Oh, Bound doesn't work this turn.
Right, yeah.
Because of barring.
So given that he's already taken away the military icon from Jon Snow, is the Intimidate go on ranging party? I mean, or...
Presumably.
Okay, yeah, because he used Jon Snow to actually... Huh. Okay.
Well, there's an event out of his hand, so we may have called it correctly. He may just be sitting on a pile of events.
It's really unlikely though.
Why do you...
Sitting on...
I'm sorry, why would he block with Jon Snow there?
Because he realizes that the Martell player is getting in range of being able to win the game with the Doran's game, so opposing there to keep the power, I assume.
Yeah, a Doran's game puts him at 13. So unopposed, and then nail out a power icon, you win power challenge. I don't know. He's pretty hosed in this spot. Like it's
Well, if he had Dorn's game, he would have played it there, right? There's no reason he wouldn't.
right.
So he doesn't have it. if you're Martell now, you don't actually mind losing some challenges, so you can start filtering through your deck using Dorn, right? Or you're hunting for Dorn's game now.
I mean, we could see a bound. No, he only made the challenge with one character, so no bound.
Yeah,
this turn?
we also said that barring the gates is going to block bound, so
Oh yeah, that's
there's
right.
never going to be a
Yeah.
concern.
So next turn, Dorn's game would be worth 8. That's enough. That's enough to win.
I'm just trying to remember. I don't remember. Does Dorn game it doesn't require faction Neil, does it?
It does not.
No. The other event that draws you cards for Martell Secret Schemes requires the faction Neil.
Right. I'm just making sure it's like you can go hunting for it. Dorn's game with Secret Schemes, but I was wondering if they both had a faction deal associated with them.
The other Doran's card in Doran's name, I think, has a faction Neil, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Well, Martell completely controls initiative now, also.
Yes.
Plus 8 initiative will do that.
But it feels like even without seeing the cards that kind of Martell needs, they might just be able to handle things now another way, you know?
They should be able to just grind it out if that's what you're saying, yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what he plays with Manning. If it's another Starfall Cavalry, then it's, card draw.
Or the Intimidate Army would be what I would think. Host of the Boneway?
Yeah. But again,
there's
if
3
you don't
of each
have
of
game,
those.
then that's what that's for, right? It's mostly... Or I guess it's got Intimidate just built in.
Yeah.
But he did choose to go second, so that's kind of taking away from his Intimidate value. And there's the Starfall Cavalry to...
Yep, you were right. Cards.
A lot of money on both sides.
It's more stealth.
And big body. And sits on 5 with 2 kings. Yeah, his hand must just be all events. That's really unfortunate.
There's the Intimidate Army.
Mm-hmm. Well, Night's Watch has got a ton of strength behind a military challenge now, but yeah, Martell. This has the answers.
I don't think even just the armies can he even get through the armies, because assuming he takes the stealth military icon off of Ghost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then there's no stealth at all.
And that's 24 strength from, if I calculated correctly,
Yeah.
from Night's Watch. Martell matches that just with his 2 12 strength armies.
And there's the nightmares, right?
Oh, from Martell.
Mm-hmm.
So now he has even less strength because he can use his Starfall to take a different icon. Water Gardens, no. Princess Plans, that would make Princess Plans free.
So he can block this with a single character.
Not quite a single character, I don't think.
Well, how much would Princess if you're saying that's for Princess Plan? Princess Plan right now is
8.
worth 8. I'm just saying now that he's used Starfall, I think a single.
No, he's got 21 strength. He could
Is it still
block the Sea of Blood trigger, but not the Win the Challenge. So he would have to use Princess Plan and 2 characters,
Okay.
which doesn't seem like a heavy investment for the other person having to kneel out.
In any case, Martell handles this pretty effortlessly.
I think it would take a massive punt, yes.
But if you're Night's
But-
Watch, what else are you gonna do here? I don't.
Right.
I mean, I guess you should definitely win a power challenge, though.
Yeah, you definitely need to win the power challenge.
But he still started off. Yeah, he started off with military.
I mean, the power challenge is, well, the power challenge is, depending on how all this goes, the power challenge could be what he uses the Princess Plans to block.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He has 3 gold as well. He could have 2 Princess Plans in hand and still play both of them and still get his 1 gold for Doran's game.
Yeah, he's only got 2 Princess Plans in the deck, so it's unlikely, but he could.
Okay.
We've seen one, right?
Yes, there's
Right,
one in
yeah,
his
he
hand
returned
that
his
we
hand.
know of.
Yeah. So now he should block with this with the big character and little character,
Mm-hmm.
and then save the Princess Plans for the power challenge.
That makes sense to me.
Again, as we were kind of talking about earlier, like what's this? Is there anything sneaky that Night's Watch can do to add strength to this challenge once they've declared? And I don't think we thought of anything.
I'm gonna take a look at the list.
Like there's no practice blades there, or
Right.
you can't ambush in Dragon Glass Dagger. I don't think.
No.
Yeah, no, there's nothing that I can see.
Now, here's where I would
Oh.
anticipate the Princess Plans coming to block this challenge. No. Interesting. Maybe he's
Even
digging. Maybe,
to claim.
maybe he doesn't have the Doran's game and needs to dig for it.
Even still, I'm not sure I agree with losing the power challenge there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Well, we'll see now whether he had it, right? Is there?
So you're gonna get 2 unopposed challenges. There it is.
Yeah.
The unopposed challenges still win him the game? Yes, they do. The unopposed power wins him the game.
Maybe the Dawn Trigger won in the game. Huh.
It almost had to have, didn't it? Because he wouldn't let the 2-claim intrigue challenge go.
There wasn't a 2-claim intrigue challenge declared, right?
It was the power. It was the power.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for streaming, Trey.
Yeah.
And thanks for letting me
thanks
join
thanks
you.
for joining me.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on.
I think we'll have hopefully 3 USA games on tomorrow. I think Alejandro, you're playing in one of them, right?
Yeah. I'll be on at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay, great.
All right. I'll see what I can do to join you tomorrow. I don't know. Just like you said, we're traveling a little bit because we're going to a prime regional, whatever you want to call it, on Saturday.
Gotcha.
So have a good evening, guys.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.